I want to tell a story about Rabbi Maisels and his wonderful wife, Esther. Rabbi and Esther, that's what I've always called it, were a team. They were b'shert in the true sense of the word. Rabbi was with Esther, Esther was with Rabbi in my eyes. When the suggestion of the stories of Rabbi Maisels was suggested, I wanted to tell a special story that happened to us. We were members of Claremont Shul at the time. I grew up at Weinberg Shul with Rabbi Mervis being my rabbi. We then moved as a family to the big Claremont Shul, where I had my bat mitzvah, and then Jeremy and I got married with Rabbi Lerner officiating. Rabbi Lerner was our rabbi. Our boys were by choice brised by Rabbi Maisels, with him including Rabbi Lerner in the prayers. We decided to keep a Beth Din home and sent our kids to the Hebrew Academy, which was then in Sabrant Park, even though our house was in Constantia, backing onto the Herzliya field. It was our way of life. We chose to teach our children more than we knew as both matriculated at Herzliya. Our kids were probably the only non-fully observant kids, but we were Beth Din kosher, and that was fine for play dates, etc. Long story carries on. With Pesach approaching, Esther was the head of pre-primary, and I still remember standing near her office and her asking us to join them for second night. I accepted. Our kids were 3 and 4, so this is almost 20 years ago. That night could have been last night. It is so clear to all of us. Saying Hallel every year, I always announce. I remember Hillel, who I never met before or after reciting Hillel. We assumed it would be a large crowd. Why would the Rabbi and Rebbetzin of Camps Bay Shul invite us to Seder? We arrived. It was a Saturday night, and Esther waited for Rabbi, Hillel, who was out on holiday, and Gila to return from Shul, then light her candles and started to warm the supper. The table was beautifully set, but it was small. There was not a crowd. We were special. We were wanted. It was an evening, as I said, we will never ever forget. I had made some ceramics that Esther still reminds me she uses on her table a connection to that night. It sealed a relationship with Rabbi Maisels that I feel we had. I never saw him without going out of my way to say hello, share a memory or a laugh, a smile or a story. He always had time. He always made me feel what I was speaking about was the most important thing he had heard that day. Never forgetting to mention where Esther was, if not by his side. More recently in Israel, welcoming another grandchild to their family, who I wish a long and healthy life. Welcoming basically strangers and making us feel like royalty was so normal for them as a couple. But we were left comfortable as if it was meant to be. Esther always looked onto her husband, or as we call him, Rabbi, with such respect and admiration. And as we know, even with teaching, they taught us the same, for example, kashrut. The bond that they had as a couple was special. It was more than Rabbi and Rebbetzin. It was a gift from Hashem. It was a shidduch that was b'shet. Please God, may Esther live a long life and live with her beautiful memories. And Rabbi, I'm sure he's already at peace as he was in life. That's from Dalida and Jeremy Seeligsoh.